Welcome back, dude and dudettes, to another wild episode of Send It Mate. We're here to talk about all things hunting and outdoors. And today, we've got something that'll keep your gear running smoother than a dingo's getaway.
That's right. Our show is brought to you by High Caliber, the gun and knife oil company that knows how to keep your firearms and blades in tip-top shape.
High Caliber is like the secret sauce for hunters, anglers, and outdoorsy folk everywhere. It's like the magic potion that makes your gun and knives happier than a dog with two tails.
You know, guys, I've been using High Caliber oil for a while now, and let me tell you, it's the duck's nuts. My rifle practically sings a lullaby when I take it out hunting.
And speaking of lullabies, ever tried sneaking up on a deer with a squeaky gun? It's a prime way to end up with no venison in the freezer. You'll be hungrier than a vegan at a bacon festival.
Absolutely. But with High Caliber oil, your gun will be quieter than a ninja in moonlight. You'll be stalking your prey with the grace and stealth of a mountain lion.
High Caliber doesn't just keep things quiet, it also prevents rust and corrosion, so you won't find your gear looking like it spent a season at the bottom of a creek.
That's right, and for you knife enthusiasts out there, High Caliber has got you covered too. Your trusty blade will slice through anything smoother than butter on a hot biscuit.
So, folks, don't let your gear become a rusty, squeaky mess. Head on over to highcaliber.com.au and grab a bottle of their oil today.
And if you use the code SENDITMATE at checkout, you'll get a special discount. I say again, use the code SENDITMATE for all your oil slick, stealthy hunting needs.
Thanks to High Caliber, you'll be sending it in style and silence.
So, gear up, oil up, and send it, mate. High Caliber, the ultimate oil for the ultimate hunter.
What's crack-lagging?
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Send It Mate podcast.
Mate. Podcast, guys.
Oh my God, he started.
Doing his own special effects again. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen.
Yet.
I'm Caleb.
I'm Josh.
And I'm Ryan.
Hey.
Together we are Captain Planet.
Smooth, Josh. Real smooth.
There's a pause, so it had to be said.
Hey, boys, going all right?
Oh, yeah.
You're not too bad.
Getting on.
How do I get in trouble for asking how your week was? And you're like, how you going? Not too bad.
I'm just being polite. Come on.
He's camp mum. He's allowed to say whatever he wants.
Actually, we had an interesting weekend. Just
did.
quickly, before we get into the nuts and guts of it.
Did we ever? We had a great weekend, actually. Josh and I went away.
I mean, we
Yes.
didn't have a
Right,
good
so
week.
two-
did we?
sorry.
2/3 of us had a great weekend.
Yeah, one of us was stuck working. Sucked a massive deer's dick. So, thanks.
We had a few deer wieners for dinner tonight.
Succulent
We did.
wieners.
Yeah.
We did. Well, this was a result of a successful hunt over the weekend. We went down the southeast with our mate Hainsey.
You went down south.
Shout out to Hainsey.
You're just going with the innuendo straight away, mate.
How many forests are down
I'm actually
south?
trying to be serious. Southeast, going down the
You had to get the
southeast.
brush cutter out, all right?
Was that
The chainsaw made an appearance.
southeast, hey? Hip action.
But yeah, no, he was nice enough to invite us out, and successful hunt. I got myself a little red spiker, which is
Your first red deer?
first red actually for me, and nice little eater. So yeah, a bit of meat has been processed since then.
To be honest, we were up till I actually got home at midnight last night, and we did over 1,000 snags. We were making 1,000
So
snags with Hainsey.
you would say it's been a process.
Quite the
Yeah,
process.
It's been a process.
So,
what are you getting at?
You're processing meat.
We-
That's why that's funny. My talent is wasted on you boys.
100% it is. So yeah, no, it was nice to enjoy the spoils of the hunt tonight. A few snags and a bit of backstrap, which I've
yeah.
been marinating.
It was delicious.
It was good. We did a bit of a turkey shoot the first night, actually, for some rabbits.
Oh, yeah.
And Caleb was introduced into, I'd put this, like, redneck shooting.
Country
yeah.
style. It was, full on. Like, it's a full-time job just hanging on.
Yeah.
I
I think Caleb got like 6 rounds off in the whole night
most of the time I was just trying to hang on.
and trying to reload
Yeah.
whilst hanging on.
To be fair, like there was some bumps we went over where I got about 3 foot of air. So
Oh, that sounds like my kind of party.
Yeah, it was fun. Caleb was shitting himself.
I don't know how Hainsey does it. He's just like standing there, like bracing himself with his knees and just not moving. So
And the dude was pulling some crazy shots off. I'm talking like insane shots. Like on the move, the rabbit's on the move, we're on the move, we're like midair. He's still pulling off like a shot at 50 metres with a 12 gauge.
Wow.
Yeah.
it was nuts.
And not just once. It was like a common occurrence.
Nice.
Yeah.
So he was moving, the truck was moving, the rabbit was moving, you had a bit of movement, and then he'd take a shot.
Yeah.
A lot of variables were going on.
Yeah. You got to be there, man.
Yeah.
You got to be there.
So good weekend. Shout out to Hainsey. Thanks, mate. That was an awesome weekend.
It was. Thank you.
Cool.
We'll have him again on too.
We should, eh?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Get him
well,
back on.
shit, yeah. I wasn't present for that one, and I would like to be present for the next one, please, fellas.
Yeah. So you missed out on the hunt. You missed out on a
You'll be-
podcast. Come on, Ryan.
You'll be present, but will you be present?
I am a present.
Oh dear. Anyway, let's move on.
So this week we have a special guest once again, and I would like to introduce to the listeners Dr. Tim Turk.
Welcome.
Welcome, Tim.
G'day.
Good to meet you guys. Good to see you. Good to see you. I guess I shouldn't say meet you. I know.
Yeah, good
all
to
of
meet you
You-
I
too.
say I just married your sister. I mean, whatever.
So many jokes that are inappropriate right
Yeah.
It does surprise me that a learned doctor is in Josh's family.
Well, extended family, twice removed. And we did move 3 states away for a reason. You know, it's,
Hang on, you first moved what internationally twice, and then
I was going to say
finally-
we went to the other side of the world first. So that was you know.
Yeah, Josh has
and
that
then
effect on people.
And then what was it? Came back to Adelaide, went to Darwin, came back to Adelaide, went to Queensland, moved around Queensland a couple of times.
How'd you like Darwin?
It rained a lot.
Yeah,
Um,
hotter than a nun's nasty.
oh fuck, it sucked. You know what? Darwin is a fantastic place to go and visit with a hotel that has good air conditioning.
Yeah,
And then around 8 o'clock at night, when it's actually comfortable enough that you can walk outside, is when you go do stuff. But I mean, I went up there, I worked, I was in the hospital all the time. You just come outside and you have no idea whether it was day or night. Sometimes it'd be just absolutely bucketing and sometimes it wouldn't.
so it's an experience. Darwin is.
Yes, that's a great description.
If you haven't been, go check it out.
If you want,
Yeah.
if you want to become an alcoholic, go to Darwin. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, there is one street in Darwin that's designed to make you an alcoholic.
There's,
and,
there's only one street in Darwin too.
Pretty much. All right. Well, we've established the connection there. So, Tim, you are in fact Josh's brother-in-law.
Yep. Have for multiple years now.
Yeah. Very nice. Very nice. So, did you actually meet your lovely wife overseas, or did you meet her here?
I met her. So we at one point both worked for a cruise line in the United States, and we met while we worked on board the ship together many years ago. And we've been together since then, basically.
Did you have to reference everyone, like when you first spoke to everyone on the cruise liner, and say ahoy instead of hi?
What the fuck?
I've always wondered that. Isn't
No,
it like an etiquette thing? Is it etiquette when you're on the water? It's ahoy.
Oi, mate.
No, only on Pirates Night during the pirate time of the year.
So-
We had to, of course, say ahoy to everybody.
Is it like on 70s night? Does everyone, you have to reference everyone as being groovy?
No, there was no 70s night.
Oh.
No. No, I don't remember a lot of that time of my life.
Is that because you were pissed drunk?
No, that was before I was a doctor. Actually, I was a nurse, and we were on call all the time, so we weren't allowed to be drunk the entire time we were there. And we actually got randomly breathalyzed.
Really?
On that ship. So every other crew member, except for one of the fire teams, the guys on the bridge, and the medical team. And other than that, everyone else could be shit-faced 24 hours a day if they wanted to, essentially.
Wow.
Nice.
As long as you didn't get caught. And we would get randomly breathalyzed. So
Did you
literally...
Did you get any time off to drink?
So we were allowed, as long as we stayed below 0.04, which is like, in Australia, that'd be like under the legal drinking limit for going and driving a car. As long as you stayed under that limit. So you could have a beer.
Yeah.
But you'd then, I would wait like 10 minutes and have another one. But you should have waited about an hour and had another one after that.
Yeah, but you are like 7 foot. So,
yeah.
One standard drink for you is like 10 for everybody else.
Yeah, a pint for me is like a schooner for the world. So,
I know. I thought you were tall, Ryan. I reckon. Foot on
How tall are you actually, Tim?
6'7" and a bit.
Wow.
Yeah, you sort of it says 200 centimeters on my license, so that's what I tell everybody.
It's a nice
Mainly
round
because
number.
the thing only goes up to 200 centimeters when you're in the licensing place, so they just sort of put 200 on it, even though you stand above it.
So you're ruckman size, basically.
I'm too damn tall, is what I am.
Very good. Well, shall we delve a bit deeper and get to know Tim?
Of course, yeah.
Dr. Tim.
Let's do it.
All right. So the keen ear at home will have heard a slight accent. Where are you actually from?
I am one of those foreigners from Canada, born and raised in Toronto, actually. Yeah.
Toronto.
Right.
Toronto, yep.
Toronto, Ontario. So right in the middle where all the water is, basically.
Yeah.
Not the ocean water, the drinkable water.
What's it like up there?
You know what? It's. I grew up in a big city, 5 million odd people, and it's like any other city anywhere in the world. Obviously, colder winters. Summers are probably not as warm. Lot of wilderness, though. 2 hours out of the city, 3 hours out of the city, and dense forest as far as the eye can see. Beautiful country, beautiful place. Did a train ride across it once, and just it's amazing.
And you left.
Country.
And you left.
Well, I don't like shoveling snow, man. Like, this country has this fascination with the beautifulness of snow. And I'm sorry, it's cool when it melts on its own. You actually have to get up in the morning and shovel a car out just to go to work. It's not cool anymore.
Yeah,
like you very, very quickly start hating snow.
Could you just get in your car and drive it and push it with your car?
Well, when the snow is above the bumper, no. It doesn't work like that. It's not like the movies where you just drive away. You need snow tires, you need a snow plow, snow's a pain.
They've been lying to me this whole time.
Yeah.
This whole time. Is it true that like flamethrowers are used to clear the driveway? Is that a thing?
Flamethrowers.
I've seen heaps of videos of dudes just like coming out, just cranking a flamethrower. And,
You're there with your little fucking like squirty pistol for the fucking Kero.
Yeah, it's the Kmart flamethrower, mate.
So, yes, with a big asterisk next to it, okay? So it works, but if it's below zero, the water that you create turns into ice, and then you still can't drive out of your driveway. So you melt all the snow, it goes down, it turns into ice, and then you slip on your ass like all those other YouTube videos, trying to get out of your driveway. So they actually use snow melting machines because you run out of room to put the snow. It doesn't melt fast enough, so they have essentially something the size of an 18-wheeler that is a giant heater that'll heat the ground up and heat the road up until the snow just melts and runs down drains. And they probably use some sort of fuel system to light those on fire. But you're not allowed close to them when they're running. You can't the police block the roads and stuff like that because they're hot, obviously. But yeah, so that's always it's you learn to deal with snow in other ways.
So you
dump it in the ocean.
Essentially, you traded snow, and this one's for you, Zach, for a fucking desert.
Yeah.
No.
Well, I live in Queensland, so
It's not a desert.
as long as
you
stay close-
live in a remote part of Queensland that is a fucking desert.
God damn it! Yeah. Look, there is an ocean nearby. I've been told. Okay.
You've been told.
I don't see it, so I don't believe it.
Very good. All right, let's keep it moving. What's your favourite food, Tim?
Some sort of giant rack of ribs.
Ooh.
And I've had it from multiple animals. So venison ribs are pretty good. Pork ribs are pretty much my go-to, though.
Very good.
But any large amount of meat on a plate with a couple of chips next to it to pretend to be a salad.
That's the only way to live, and Caleb would disagree because he is a vegan.
That's it, ladies and gentlemen. For those playing at home, you've just heard it from Dr. Tim. The best meal that you can have is chips and meat.
So like to point out that there are medications involved. Yeah. Getting rid of the cholesterol involved with that.
It's all right. Wash it down with a liter of cola.
No, it's diet.
Diet cola. Everything in moderation, people.
I just think of that movie Super Troopers where Farfa's like,
Oh, yeah.
give me a liter of cola.
Yeah.
Ryan just spat his wine everywhere.
Oh dear. All right.
But that is one biggest difference between in Canada and the US especially, every servo will have a soda fountain in it that you can access. Like you can go up to it and you can fill up pretty much anything you want. And they
self-serve.
They self-serve.
Yeah.
And they charge you off of the volume.
Oh,
So you could bring in a liter bottle, fill it up, and just go to the front counter and it's like $1.
What?
Wow.
For that?
Wow.
So it's like when I heard the joke like from Super Troopers, I want a liter of cola. I'm just sitting there going,
That's normal.
yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
God.
I get the joke that they're trying to make, but like that's what I can do on my way to work if I wanted.
Can you
But
imagine?
yeah,
We get like a sugar tax here. Like, there ain't no way a liter of cola is costing you $1 here.
nah.
No way.
Was it like, what's a 2 litre bottle of Coke? It's like $3.50 or $3.80 or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't buy Coke.
That's insane.
I was gonna say so you can get there is a establishment. I won't say their name. Don't want to get in trouble. Called 7-Eleven, and you can buy something called a double big gulp. And now a double big gulp is also known as the American size, and it's 1.8 liters.
Holy shit.
Well, so because the cup holders over there in your car is designed to hold it. Like they actually redesigned the cup holders from cars that like would be sold here. You can get the same vehicle, like a Ford Ranger. It was available over there with a different set of cup holders so that you can actually fit the giant ass things. In
Really?
the cup
That's
holders.
insane.
Yeah. So you can fit your 1.8 liters of cola in your little cup holder between you and your passenger and sip on it for I don't know the rest of the day. Like I mean,
Fucking hell.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, like the car companies here still won't make the cup holders to fit a fucking Farmers Union iced coffee.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
un-Australian.
No, it's just the states progressive. God's country, mate. The states, Canada. Why would you leave? Why? Why?
They're white progressive because of cup holders.
Fucking oath. Fucking oath. Mate, I'll write an essay just on that shit.
If you wanted, I could just take a hunting knife. I could probably cut your cup holder.
Yeah, that's right.
Take 4 chunks out of it, and we can throw a Farmers Union in there for you.
Redneck science.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure there's adapters. Like someone's come up with the grand idea of having like a square top on a round bit that sits in your
Yeah.
cup holder, so that
Yeah.
it turns it into a Farmers Union
Yeah.
cup holder.
But then you got to pay for
So-
something like that. You buy a Land Cruiser, there's $90K. You get a cup holder? No, you got to go buy your own fucking
You
cup
do-
holder. Which, by the way, you
so
should.
you're trying to put a square peg in a round hole.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. I see the dilemma.
I failed at that.
All right.
And in Australia, someone would have invented a way to fix this problem.
Yeah. Progression.
Of course. Tim, what was your first job?
So I used to be like the first paid job.
Yeah.
So before I got paid, I volunteered in a hospital. What are the odds? First paid job, I was a lifeguard at an amusement park. So had a wave pool, water slides, all that kind of stuff.
Hey.
That was my summer job for, good Lord, 3 years. I think I did that over the summer.
Were there like
that was
some
the
sweet perks to that? Like, could you get your mates in for free? And
Yeah. So we got 8 free passes a year or something like that for your mates, and we could go in anytime we wanted. We could bring a friend in anytime we wanted for free, and
nice.
yeah, so that was pretty good. And you got discounted stuff too, so you could go and play the ring toss as many times as you wanted for minimal money.
I love a good
win,
ring toss.
Yeah, I'm going to roll with a part B on that question because I did actually find a quote online from yourself, and the part B to this question is what made you want to become a doctor. Now, the quote that I found from you apparently was, "I needed a career that would constantly challenge." And also, the doctors on Star Trek had the best toys.
Totally, yes. Yeah. Oh, I knew you were going to find that.
Could you
damn Google?
care to explain, please?
I entered the medical field as a nurse, straight out of high school, went into nursing. And I went into it during the first financial crash that happened over in North America. So I needed a job that I needed a career degree that would guarantee me a job. And I figured that healthcare would be one of those degrees, and nursing was, there were 100 people in my class and 5 guys. So, you can get an idea of why I went into nursing maybe. But I did nursing first, got my bachelor's of science.
He's
in nursing.
saying this with his wife in the
room. So I got my nursing degree first. Probably about 2/3 of the way through my nursing degree, realized that I wasn't a very good nurse, and went and got my paramedic diploma instead. So I got both of those first. And then I realized that I just kept getting bored. So I went and worked on a cruise ship. And honestly, I know, I just couldn't decide what I wanted to do with my life until I went to med school. And then I realized that medicine was just too damn hard. So I just kept going though, because I figured that out like in 4th year. So when I was essentially done, I was like, God, this is a really hard career. I don't want to do this anymore. Well, too late now. So kept going. But no, the whole time you do it, you keep waiting for somebody to hand you the cool, where's the perk of the job? Where's the cool thing that you get, and the best thing I ever got was a white coat. You get nothing. And Star
watch.
Trek has, you at least got a watch out of it. I'm not even allowed to wear a watch at work because
I've got to point out
hygiene,
this. So you gave up the possibility to be a fucking ice hockey star to be in medicine.
Oh, I am so un-Canadian when it comes to hockey.
Really?
No, I can't skate. It's depressing. I am like freaking Bambi on ice, man. I'm better walking on ice than I am skating on ice. So I did play ball hockey. I was reasonably good at that purely because of my size. But no, I suck at it. Yeah.
Even with a stick that you can lean on.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's not a walking stick.
No. I played hockey for a while, man. It surprisingly helps.
You've got the stature for it.
Yeah. Low center of gravity.
Yeah.
Speed.
Yeah, they have kid-size ice skates as well.
Yeah, you could have gotten the little cute blue ones with like Scooby-Doo on them. And little buckles.
Do they come
laces,
with tassels?
Yes. Yes.
I'm sure you could find tassel skates with rainbow colors, I'm sure.
All right.
I'd strap rockets to Josh's ice skates just for shits and giggles.
All right, Tim, if you could trade places with anyone in the world, who would that be?
Oh, I don't know, man. Pretty happy with my life, to be honest. If I could, though, who would I want to do that
That's
with?
well said because your wife is next to you.
Well played, sir. Well played.
Who would I? You know what? Our current prime minister is doing a dang good job. Well, so wait, hold on. Wrong country. Canadian prime minister is doing a dang good job.
Is that Justin
he has a
Trudeau?
nice house.
Trudeau?
Yeah, Justin Trudeau, man.
Yeah.
Because come on, he is. Everyone loves him.
Everyone
Well,
loves
trade-
Canadians. You're so
That's
polite.
true. We are, yeah. Fucking can't say no to anything.
Including a podcast.
Could have been against your better judgment.
So what you'd swap out with the Canadian Prime Minister?
You know what? Yeah, maybe. Or someone just really rich.
What, Donald Trump, maybe?
No, smart and rich.
I like Trump.
Just so that I could, I don't know, not have to go to work 5 days a week.
That would be nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I can't complain. I like what I do. I like being around what I do.
Mhm.
So, I if someone else got like 8 hours of sleep a night, I'd probably trade my life with theirs.
You do have twins. So, and you're a doctor. Late nights and then twins.
Yeah.
Well, that is
Yeah,
actually the
yeah.
next question, Josh. Tim, you have children, I'm hearing. So
I do. I have 10 month, 8 month. I don't know. Somewhere between 7 and 12-month-old girls. My phone tells me, man. I don't know.
The same as everyone else.
twin girls as
Yeah.
well. I'm hearing you, man. It's,
Twin girls that are currently asleep, and my amazing wife got them to sleep through the night. So more often than not, we're not woken, which is pretty good. So
Well, that's good.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Plans for any more, or just the
God, no.
twins?
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Why would you ever want to have more than hell? None. But anyway,
Fair enough.
two of everything is awful. And I mean, I didn't even realize you could buy a stroller for $4,000. My first car cost less than my stroller.
What?
It's just wrong, man. So anyway,
That is true. They are quite expensive, especially girls.
and everything's pink.
Oh,
Everything's pink.
yes.
Anyway, sorry.
It's 2021, by the way.
Yeah, I know.
They don't have to be pink.
Just
No, they
get
don't.
black.
I completely agree. So it's purple.
Oh, is that-
Yeah. Little bit of yellow, I think sometimes, but no,
It's
everything is
pink,
pink.
purple, or it's rainbows.
See, yellow's supposed to be neutral. This actually goes back to our very first podcast where you two were giving me shit for saying yellow was completely neutral.
No. Mustard is good. Yellow is not neutral. All right? There's a difference, bruh.
All right, let's not get hung up on semantics. Tim, what is the most dangerous thing you've ever done?
I probably met Josh for the first time.
No, mate, maybe my other sisters would have been worse. It's okay. This is a safe space.
No, his answer right now might be the most dangerous thing he's ever done.
Let's circle back on that. I'll finish this first, and then we can talk about that one. Most dangerous thing I ever did. So on a cruise ship, there's enough lifeboats for everybody.
Yep.
As well. But if you're so dumb that you manage to not get on any of those things, there is a descending device, usually on an outside deck somewhere, well covered and well hidden so that no one can find it easily. But it's obvious if you know where to look, that you can hook yourself up to and get lowered into the water. And these have to be tested twice a year on every cruise ship. And somebody said, hey, would you ever want to try out a descending device and be lowered into the water? Apparently I'm an idiot.
Yeah.
Sure, why not?
Well,
It sounds like fun.
You're not going to do it, are you?
Yeah, well, someone challenges you like that, you got to say yes, right? Yeah. So that was probably the dumbest thing I've ever done. I don't know if it was the most dangerous thing I ever did.
And I have to point out your hobby here. You like downhill mountain bike riding. That has got to be insane, man.
Well, only if you fall off. It's like motorcycles. I ride those too, and I mean they're totally safe until something goes wrong.
Till the driver in the car wipes it out.
Yeah.
So let's get back to this. What is it called?
Descending device.
Descending device. Because I'm thinking like a crane that just lowers people down into the water and just dugs them in.
No, it is. It is a pulley that has a little brake on it. Essentially, you hook you put some ropes under your shoulder. You climb over a railing that's designed to keep you from climbing over a railing, and then you just kind of let go and just sort of hope that the brake works. The thing they didn't tell me though is that it takes about a good story before the brake kicks in.
Oh,
yeah. So you sort of you're going a lot like the speed that I went down initially. I was like, am I going to hit it was about 5 stories, 6 stories off the ground. Right. And there's water, but water 6 stories down hurts no matter how, that's going to hurt. And you start going kind of quick. And I was really kind of concerned for a second that I was going to hit the water at that speed because I had a life jacket on. But the life jacket is like just one of those ones that goes around your neck. It's not like anything fancy. I'm like, well, at least they'll find my head. But and then it slowed me down, and I was okay, and I got to go past a few people's cabins on the way down and wave at them and hit the water and swam over to the boat that was waiting for me and stuff. But
that'd be quite difficult because obviously the ship is on like getting hit by waves, so rocking, and then you're obviously suspended on that pulley, so you're going to have momentum with the ship. He's
shaking his head right now. What is the ship's not rocking?
So cruise ships, the size of the cruise ships that I worked on had 5,000 people on them. They weighed more than aircraft carriers.
Wow.
So they have ballast systems in them. So I think we never, if they turned the ballast system on, we never rocked more than 5 degrees.
Right.
Laterally.
Yep.
So, and they had, so even when you're sitting at dock, even if the waves are hitting the ship, the waves will be coming in and hitting the side of the ship. The ship's just staying perfectly level. They're pumping water back and forth to keep it from rocking. So it was just going down the side of a building, basically. That's what it felt like.
Oh, that's cool.
And then you hit the water and a wave smacks you into the side of the boat. But up to that point, you're fine.
Yeah.
That is a phenomenal engineering feat.
Oh, here we go. We are down the rabbit hole.
I'm impressed.
It's actually more impressive when you start hearing the stats about the engines and stuff like that. So we had 5 engines.
Mm-hmm.
They were inline 6-cylinder engines. 3 of them were inline 6s. 2 of them were inline 8s, I think. They were 64-liter engines.
Wow.
That ran on bunker fuel. Which is basically like the dirtiest diesel you can possibly find kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And all they did was drive electric generators. They ran at a constant speed driving electric generators, and everything on the ship was just electrical powered.
Really?
The giant electric motors spun the props. Yeah. There is no, hydraulics and electrics. Nothing is directly driven by those engines except a giant magnet to generate power.
They're quite large engines, aren't they? They'd be like...
They build the ship around the engine. Once they're in there, you can't replace them.
Yeah, they're like considering comparing it to a shipping container. They're
like 3 high, 2 long.
Yeah.
They were. So there are 3. So on our ship, there were 4 stories below the water.
Mm-hmm.
And the engine was 3 of those stories. Like the engines were 3 stories high.
Yeah, bloody hell.
Far out.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. They were engineering triumphs that
I
you never
believe,
saw and never cared about, and flicked a switch and the light turned on. It was like,
I believe the technical word for those sorts of engines is fucking massive.
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
digress here. I don't know it's speed round, but I'm gonna digress. So I actually did my maritime ship security course, and I got to see how big the a diesel engine is on a ship. And my dad actually, who's your father-in-law, Tim.
Thank you for pointing that out, Josh.
Oh, is that who that
Yeah,
guy
that's
is?
who that
Shot
guy
at
is.
Family events. Oh, yeah.
He-
Cool.
He pointed out actually in the States there's this show that they do that's sort of like you're an inventor, and all these inventors can come in and show their new inventions and things, and one of them was a cylindrical engine. Now they reckon that one of these cylindrical engines, the equivalent of just one Connex container in size, could do the same job as all 5 of those ship engines. Yeah, absolutely. And because there's no back and forward motion on a piston, because it's cylindrical, it's just stop, start, stop, start, stop, start. So there's no like downwards motion. So you're not losing power.
You're capturing
in your
all of the
piston coming
energy
down.
in the circular motion
Yeah.
instead of it being.
It's absolutely amazing. I just need to point that out. I had to get it out. It was busting.
Yeah. Sounds like
Josh just wanted to prove he had some knowledge to all the listeners.
Round engines, everybody! Round engines!
Yeah.
a lot of the newer ships will actually they use turbines.
Oh, right.
Hey.
Yeah.
Just big ass turbines, spin it around. It's more efficient.
Fuck
Apparently.
it,
I
put
don't
some
know.
wings on the fucker and just.
Nah, nuclear, mate.
Well,
It's safe.
they've got wings on them too.
What?
I'm not kidding. So they have fins under the water.
Oh,
that-
aerofoils, yeah. Oh, hydrofoils,
Yeah.
sorry, not aerofoils. Hydrofoils.
But the fins go up and down to stop the rocking too. So if
Oh.
the ballast system's not good enough, they can fold out fins, and then when the ship goes one way, the fins will flip the other way to like force it back upright, and then they move up and down.
I think you mean flippers.
No, they're fins. Flippers
That's actually quite smart.
It's got these fucking flippers.
Yes, I know. I'm making. I talk with my hands. I'm basically Italian. I don't know.
Oh, yeah. No, it's-
That's quite smart, actually.
While we're on cruise liners, can I debunk something with you, Tim? So I went on a cruise
COVID.
and
Sorry.
I get seasick, right? And the particular cruise line I went on, I heard a rumor afterwards that they turned the stabilizers off to save fuel, and
Yeah,
that's why
absolutely.
that's why it was so
Yeah.
rocky.
Yeah, because you're shoving these giant fins out into the water, so it uses more fuel to drive the ship through it.
Yeah.
So you lose sort of 5-6 knots of speed, and you use more fuel. So if we don't care, we just fold it back in. And the ship rocks around, and we're like, "Oh yeah, it's just really rough tonight." Oh, the stabilizers, of course, they're out. Yeah.
Oh, I was actually on the cruise that Caleb's talking about, and it was like on the front of the ship, you could like it was almost like you were being tossed in the air, and you could when you came back down, it was like you had jumped. It was
Yeah.
insane.
That sounds like a good time being tossed in the air.
Oh, I was pissed drunk standing on the front of the ship, man. It was fucking amazing.
And
Old
you were
mate, he
fucking-
was
you-
throwing his guts up.
You had your arms out and saying you feel like you could fly, didn't you?
Fucking oath I was.
Was someone rubbing you from behind? and just like,
Absolutely.
yeah.
It was
All
caressing
3
you?
of them were dudes.
Kate Winslet off the Titanic.
Yeah,
100% did that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you probably got drawn naked later in the day too.
Damn straight. I mean, it's hard to do it by yourself. But,
By a
you
130-pound dude.
know. Hey, Jeff has feelings, man.
Jeff. We're digressing.
Not-
All right, well, I'm glad to know because I'm never going on a cruise again.
again, there's
Never-
drugs for that.
Do you know the only thing that solved my seasickness was what I call a bum bullet. In this little thing that looked like string cheese, it was this yellow thing. I had to shove it up my asshole, and that's what made me feel okay.
Was there a string attached to it?
Did you feel somewhat aroused by...
No.
Do you know, it's okay. It does happen.
It happens to the best of us.
What was worse, that was my ex-mother-in-law at the time gave them to me,
Ryan's mother.
which is Ryan's mother.
Hi, Mum.
And
She
my
listens now.
my ex-wife at the time, in all seriousness, asked if I needed assistance putting one of these up my asshole. And I'm like, nah, I'll be all right, thanks.
When you do it yourself, you can be like, that's not comfortable. And then you wait like 10 minutes and you're like, yeah, all right,
You
I've
wait
got the
another 10
courage
and
to
then
do
you're like,
this.
I didn't
this
feel
is
as violated doing it myself.
quite nice. Did you spit on it?
They're pretty slimy. They look like that.
They're pre-lubed.
Yeah, they look like that string cheese stuff, but they're a bit more solid with plastic around them.
I wonder how many people are going, you know what? I'm not really comfortable with this. I'm going to put it in a condom first. And then
I'll shell some cheese.
The doc actually cut up some string cheese for him. It was like placebo
I was
effect.
just wondering, like, what if it's placebo effect? Just to see if we do it. No? Oh my God, we ran out of the drug, but you know what? It looks like string cheese. We're just going to cut some up, put it in the Ziploc bag. We'll sell it to him for $20. Tell him it's good stuff.
I think the giveaway was that it was in a snap-lock bag.
I would have shelved anything at that point. The seasickness is just terrible. Like, if I knew it was going to solve the seasickness, I would have done anything pretty much.
No, there's needles for that. Like, I can fix that problem without shoving a finger in your ass.
It takes all the fun away, Tim.
I treat people with nausea bloody every day, and I don't have a finger in their ass. Well, not for the nausea. I can't. There are other reasons, but we're digressing, I think.
We do it well. All right. Tim, what's the best piece of advice you've been given?
You don't need a needle, or you need a needle, not a finger.
Anywhere you're willing to stick a finger, you're willing. No,
Is there a medication that requires you to get a jab in your anus?
What?
As in your anus hole?
tons.
Really?
Yeah.
In your butt hole. So like
Yeah.
inside the hole.
Yeah.
Please
I don't know what to say to that.
Caleb's
I
like,
have,
yeah,
never
it feels
seen, I
good.
have never known Josh to be speechless. I'm kind of impressed. Like, this is all I knew it was going to take. Like, I would have started bringing up medicine a while ago, man.
Butt stuff scares him.
questions.
Yeah. Not a fan about butt stuff.
Do you like open the hole up with some sort of apparatus so that you can get the needle in there?
It's not Pornhub, mate. There you go. There's a reference.
Is it?
Well, it depends on if the thing that you're injecting is inside or outside. You sometimes have to open it up with a dilator, but you can sometimes just inject externally.
This is disgusting.
I never would have thought there was a need to put a needle in a butthole.
Oh,
The thought had never occurred to me.
Anyway, this is really not answering the
you
question.
asked me about advice. We're back to asses somehow. Anyway.
So what is the best piece of advice?
So I don't know. I mean, there's two. If you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room is one that I think I've heard a lot.
Ooh,
That's brilliant.
and it's
I've
just-
never heard that.
That tickles my pickle.
Oh, I'm leaving.
because it's. Oh fuck! I'm out. But it's more of the like if you're not especially in medicine, if you're not being challenged by all the people around you, you got to move. You got to find something. You got to do something more interesting. You got to find someone else that'll actually make you think.
Good one. I like that.
The other one is that this is actually a recent piece of advice after some issues locally. But your hospital's problems are not your problem. And it's your company might have issues, but it's not up to you to solve every single one of them in forcing, like, hurting yourself to force and fix their problems. Just knowing your limits and knowing, because I was at one point doing, I think I was on my 26th day straight working or something like that in a couple of different jobs. And someone gave me that advice and I started taking weekends off,
Yeah, that's good. That's 20. How many days? 28.
26.
I think I was on day 27. I think when I commented that, I was like, oh, cool. Next week is 4 weeks straight without a day off kind of thing.
Yeah, screw that.
Yeah. And somebody pointed that out to me and I realized that I probably shouldn't be working 28 days in a row. So
No, that's fair enough. All right.
Been there.
What is your most treasured possession, Dr. Tim?
Oh, my wife, of course.
Oh, well played, sir.
Is that the name for your motorbike? The wife.
No, that's Connie.
Just
No,
for those
actually,
playing,
I have.
before you answer the question, for those playing at home, what bike do you have?
It's a Kawasaki GTR 1400.
Oh, nice.
Yes, it's
not
a
bad.
sport touring machine it can go faster than the speed limit. I have one of the. We're digressing again. Do you want to know about my treasured possession, or do you want to know what stupid things I've done in my life?
All of the above. All of the above.
Let's do it. Let's go.
So one of the jobs I do is work for a company that provides medical services to racetracks, like car racing and motorcycle racing tracks in the Queensland area. And I rode my bike there one day on a motorcycle race day and decided to see what all the fun was like. So I went out on the track with panniers and top boxes and side bags, and I put my screen up all the way so that I wouldn't get hit by the wind. And I sat upright and blitzed past a whole bunch of people on sport bikes on the straightaway because my bike was faster.
Really?
Yeah.
Which was fun. Yeah.
Shit, yeah.
And then I had to hit the brakes way earlier for the corner. So they just all went whipping past me again. But for a brief second there, they were all being passed by a guy who could have been carrying weeks worth of luggage on the back of his bike.
Impressive.
In comfort.
Oh yeah, I had heated hand grips on because it was kind of cold that morning. Yeah, I'm a pussy.
No, it's smart.
Yeah. Heated seat too. Anyway. Yeah, no, my ass was toast. Anyway, no, most pressure. So actually, when my grandfather died, 4 or 5, 6 years ago now, I can't remember exactly. 5 years ago, I guess. He left me a 5-sided harmonica that he snuck out of when he was held in by some people of the German descent that didn't like his country. He managed to get a 5-sided harmonica, believe it or not, through, and it's literally a proper reed-driven 5-sided. It's got all the main major keys on it. So if you actually know how to play a harmonica, which I don't, you can apparently play essentially any piece of music that you can see because you have every single key on it. And he used it to entertain soldiers, which is one of the reasons why he survived. That, and he was a metal worker and leather worker and stuff like that. So he had all sorts of marketable skills that soldiers who had a lot of leather and metal on their uniforms needed. So that's why he survived, but he managed to, this was like a family heirloom for him that he got out with it when I think it was the Russians liberated his camp. And then he still managed to get it to Canada.
That's a story I would love to actually go down one day. If that's okay. That sounds like an amazing piece of history.
Yeah, he's he had a very he didn't talk about any of his life really. Like he kind of just you sort of have to imagine a big gray period until about the age of 27, 28. And then suddenly he had a history and he had life and he was in Canada and everything was golden. And it wasn't until probably the last 2 years of his life that he realized that he should probably actually share a lot of the stories of what happened to him.
Yeah.
And one of my aunts was really smart and started writing it all down and keeping records of it. And he actually smuggled out photos as well, like film, like old photos and rolls of film that, someone had snuck a camera in, taken photos of what was going on, and they managed to sneak the photos out. And those are actually in the Canadian War Museum now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Because we sort of, he suddenly told us about, I have these photos from an internment camp in 1936 or something like that. And we're like, wait, what? So we looked at them all. We scanned them at a really high quality and sent them through to the, War Museum and said, like, do you guys want the originals of these? Like, do you want these? Like, what are we going to do with them kind of thing? And they salivated over them because it was photos from inside internment camps. That stuff was pretty much, they didn't like that information getting out, I guess. So.
Yeah, well, very rare for an insight of that sort of atrocity.
Yeah.
Far out.
Yes. Interesting life.
There you go.
I'm sure he had.
Tim, can you recommend a movie to us?
Probably. So Pornhub.
Well played, sir.
Actually, the one that I the one that I watched most recently was Interstellar.
Oh yeah.
That Matthew McConaughey and I think Anne Hathaway's in it or some other people, but it was surprisingly good. Quite enjoyed it.
Really?
I'd watch it again.
Quite long from memory.
It is very long.
Yeah.
But you know what? Honestly, Bad Boys, the first one.
Oh,
yeah.
shit, yeah.
Yeah, the first one was
Just,
good.
you know,
boys.
The
What
sequels
you
were
gonna do?
terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like all sequels.
but just if you just want to watch two people doing stupid things, like so much fun.
Pornhub.
Yeah.
What Pornhub?
All right, last one. Now, I'll normally ask people what their first rifle was, but Tim, what I'll ask you here is, what would you like to get? Because you're not an owner of a rifle as such.
Well, I am not an owner of a rifle because I'm a foreigner in your country.
Correct. But if you could,
just going to point out that it's not easy to get a license here if you're a foreigner.
yeah.
But I'll leave it at that.
But if you could, what do you reckon you'd get your hands on?
You know what? I've always wanted a Steyr Scout, the 308, with the stainless barrel on it.
So you and me need to have a chat outside the podcast about what platforms to buy.
Yeah, well, you know.
But at least you said 308 there.
Yes. Ryan could learn some tips off of you. Nah.
See,
Well, so I mean, living in the U.S. Because I mean, obviously, I worked in the U.S. for the cruise for a while, and I did med school in the U.S. And living down there, where you don't need licenses for anything, or background checks, or skills, or anything, licenses, like driver's licenses are barely required, I think. Anyway, but you could get AR-15s in pawn shops.
Yeah.
So, it was always one of those, if I ever had decided to stay there, I was probably going to just pick up a chassis of one of those and start building it up. Just for fun and as a project, essentially in the garage kind of thing. Just because the potential of those things is so high. You can turn it into anything you want, from just the hunting to long distance hunting to, and because you're allowed, well, I don't know if you're allowed anymore, but you're allowed to have, 650 round mags and drum mags and stuff on them and things like that. And as long as it wasn't full auto, you're fine, kind of thing. So
Yeah. It's amazing, like how much the AR-15 platform has shaped the rifle community. Actually, and now in Australia, you can buy a straight pull, which looks like an AR-15, but it's a straight pull, and you can't change it. I will point that out. You can't change it to a semi-auto or an auto, but the look is pretty much identical. And it's got
is
an
it
upper
a
and over.
knockoff, or is it the actual platform?
Well, the lower is actually an AR-15 lower.
Okay.
The upper is where it differs because you don't have like space or any provisions for your gas system. So it and the bolt also, you can't change your bolt housing or your bolt on the upper to suit the gas system. So you can't actually physically change it to a semi or anything like that. But the lower is an AR-15.
Yeah, so your grips, your triggers, your butts, your
trigger mag.
all of those massive number of aftermarket stuff would be
But that's the thing; it's got so much aftermarket support. If I was going to say to you to build a platform, the Steyr you can't really build on. If you wanted it as a project, there are countless other things out there.
Yeah, but it looks sick.
You could, they're different.
Ballpark, baby.
I don't want to piss on your parade, Tim.
Feel free, man. Do you want to know why I've always wanted one of those?
Why?
It is because I'm old. Okay, the game Counter-Strike.
Oh my god!
I remember playing
That was the rifle that I always used because it was surprisingly accurate without using the scope.
Yeah,
And it had a 10 mag clip in it, or 10 round clip in it. So it was enough rounds that you could get in a fight with someone with accuracy and then still run away. Yeah. Like,
I get you.
This has
I get
nothing
you.
to do with my actual knowledge of weapons. I mean,
yeah. Okay.
if I could say, well, I played Doom as well, and there's the BFG. So I mean, man, get one of those. Or was it nail guns? I think they used.
I played Age of Empires and used to be able to get a Ferrari with a baby in it with a rocket launcher. I want one of those.
Yeah.
That's the code's Big Daddy.
Big Daddy.
Big Daddy.
Yeah, Big Daddy. Yeah,
That's the
yeah,
code,
yeah.
cheat code.
Also my nickname.
You can't call yourself Big Daddy.
No, I
Caleb.
didn't. Someone else did.
Oh.
Hey.
Caleb, if your fingers have anything to judge you on, mate,
I'm quite girthy, thank you.
Yeah,
Right, moving on.
Dreams about string cheese, all in chorus, calling you Big Daddy. I can see it now.
Were you having an episode where you were calling yourself Big Daddy?
Never.
Yes.
Never.
Do you refer to yourself in third person as Big Daddy? Big Daddy wants some of this.
Just bringing it back on, are you trying to?
But we digress.
Yes.
Well done, Josh.
Yeah. Are you trying to go through the process of getting your firearms license? And are you making headway?
I am. I have to. I'm still waiting for approval to do the course.
Yeah.
Because I'm a permanent resident. I'm applying for citizenship, but I'm a permanent resident.
Mm-hmm.
You have to get a secondary check from the AFP, and then they want you to send in records from every country you've lived in since you were, I don't know, a fetus kind of thing. To make sure you're not a criminal from back then either.
Mm-hmm.
And because I lived on a Caribbean island for a few years, those records are really hard to come by.
So you're
it's
essentially
actually
a pirate.
Yeah.
Those were the days when you referred to everyone as Arg.
Yes, matey.
Ahoy.
Ahoy, matey. Arg.
But those records are a little bit hard to come by. So it's actually easier if I just wait till I become a citizen.
Yeah.
And then apply, because then it's a completely different pathway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you got a good opportunity up in Queensland because obviously you got buff. You can hunt chital, pigs. If you get the permit, crocodile. Yeah. So you got.
I mean, there's cows in my backyard, so I mean, good practice.
And it's good feed. And let's face it, steak's expensive at the moment. God.
Not really. I know a guy.
Yeah.
Not where you are.
Well, one of the again, small town country hospital. One of our doctors also has cows and goats and horses on his property. So if he ever butchers something, we just sort of put our orders in.
That's all right.
And get some stuff off him.
All right. So we're past the speed round.
We are.
All right. Good.
Now, we've actually gone down a different path with our guest this week. So we've gone dyed in the wool hunters up until now, and Tim brings a very different angle, which is good, and someone that is very keen to get in to hunting, but also someone whose brain we can pick in terms of medical related
Fucked up shit.
hunting or just very different angle, which is good, and the listeners will enjoy this because we're talking about life in general as well for a change.
Yes.
Instead of just fishing and hunting.
I have a burning question I would like to ask.
Look at him.
So generally, we need a urine sample for that.
Yeah.
Quick course of antibiotics. But I gotta talk to you about condoms, man.
There's an
you
unguent for
really
that.
do. You really do.
There's drugs for that.
No, I've had this. I've had this conversation.
That's my standard answer. Is there's drugs for that.
It's your go-to.
Let him get this off his chest. He's burning.
Look,
All right.
I've had this conversation with you many, many times along the lines of medicinal marijuana and what are the pros and the cons and things like that.
Yeah,
I've been doing a bit of studies now. Obviously, being ex-army, a couple of the guys I know They're going through some rough times, and they're doing some studies with some hallucinogenics. And one in particular came to mind, and that was, you're going to have to say it for me because I can't pronounce it.
Well, let's just call it magic mushrooms.
Yeah, magic mushrooms. It's psilocybin.
Psilocybin mushrooms, yeah.
Psilocybin.
The P is
So
silent.
that is essentially the ingredients in magic mushrooms that creates, I'm presuming, serotonin, or it activates the serotonin receptors. No, look, that they've been doing a lot of studies from my understanding in the States with hallucinogenics and people suffering from things like PTSD, et cetera, et cetera. The studies also go into things like this psilocybin can actually, they're saying...
Forget the P. Psilocybin.
Yeah. The P does fucking English.
The P doesn't exist.
Fucking English, all right? Fuck English. Psilocybin actually can regenerate, what are they called in your head? Fuck.
Brain cells.
Brain cells. Grow brain cells. So essentially create...
I didn't think that you can't remake cells though. Once
Well,
they're dead.
this is the question that I'm going to ask the doctor.
So there's so many things in this that I have to unpack before I answer it.
Okay,
Please
unpack
do.
away.
So starting at the baseline of all this, yes, mushrooms are
Good.
hallucinogen.
Yeah.
MDMA is the other one, or ecstasy is another one that they're both hallucinogens, and they work in differing pathways, but the end result is sort of flooding you a little bit with serotonin, essentially. Now, there's a big caveat to all this in that a lot of the way your brain works is not really understood.
Mhm.
We have some ideas. We know that some parts are important and some parts aren't important, and you can cut out parts and the person seems to be completely fine until 30 years later they suddenly can't remember anything. And so there's a lot of research being done on just different ways of activating parts of your brain.
Mhm.
And one of the problems that you have with people who get flashbacks, people who've experienced trauma, is that the way that your body copes with trauma, the same way if you have an injured arm, you stop using your arm. If you have an injured memory, so to speak, if you have a memory that you don't want to remember or that hurts, your brain tries to wall it off.
Mhm.
And it doesn't want you accessing it. It doesn't want you to process it. So it kind of gets caught in your short-term memory. And that's why you get flashbacks. You're sitting there doing nothing, and suddenly your body will just remember, oh yeah, you were getting, you got raped, you got shot, you got run over by a car, you got whatever.
Mhm.
And that's the flashback.
Mhm.
Using the hallucinogens, up to this point, we've done a lot of counseling, a lot of, hypnosis, a lot of stuff like that. The goal with hallucinogens is that it forces you essentially to relive it and to activate it and to think about it, and then a guided hallucination essentially. And it's not the doses that people use at raves and stuff to see light and crowd or see colors in their whatevers. It's designed to give you enough that you can't force back the memory.
Yep.
And it makes you access it. And then there's, well-trained counselors that will guide you through talking about that memory and activating it. And, and essentially in the worst possible way, it's not reliving it. It's just thinking about it. And it's forcing you to think about it,
Yep.
which lets you put it in long-term memory,
Mhm.
which you can then kind of deal with.
Mhm.
And all of the short-term symptoms, all the flashbacks, all the, can't walk down a dark street at nighttime because that
Anxiety.
reminds you of whatever, that sort of stuff
Yep.
goes away
Yep.
because you've processed the memory.
Yep. Yeah, right.
So, there's actually really good research in it. And I'd love to be on the control arm to that because, you're supposed to do research with a placebo. So it's like, here's a pill that does nothing. Here's a pill that might do nothing. And I'm like, how I don't know how you control for here's a hallucinogen, and what are they going to give you?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I mean, here's a pint of vodka, like, but they've done a lot of research onto it. There's more coming out. I think they just published. Actually, I was just reading. Like, I get a journal brief thing, and they had a brief on it that was talking about it and saying stuff about it, and it has a lot of promise. I mean, I'm not a psychiatrist. I don't know a lot about psychiatry. I'm okay at it. But it has a lot of promise.
Do you think that we like it's almost like because of the 70s, 80s and things, people just looked at it as, oh, it's fucking bad because of hippies. Hippies fuck everything. We know that. But like now we're looking at it like, okay,
sweeping statement from
this
you.
has a promise to possibly be good with some things. Okay, let's take this drug seriously. Let's see what actually happens instead of just going, oh, it makes you high, it's bad, ban it, fucking boom. Yeah. That's it.
And that's actually a lot of where the cannabis research has come from, a lot of where the hallucinogens research has come from, a lot of where it's the acceptance of the idea that, one of the reasons that you couldn't do research on a lot of this stuff is because having the substance was illegal.
Yep.
So you couldn't have cannabis in a lab even to figure out how it kind of worked.
Really?
Because you had to have all sorts of licenses. And, let's be realistic. Research is not done by people with a lot of money. Mm-hmm. When you're just trying to figure out how something works. It's done by university people, university students, guys doing their master's theses and things like that. That's where a lot of the base research comes from that we build on to turn into a drug 10 years later. Mm-hmm. And it's only been in the last, 10 years, give or take, that, the acceptance of cannabis is out there. People are actually willing to, sure, you can grow some of that in your backyard. Let's see how it works. Let's see what it's used for. And that's why all this stuff is coming out about. We suddenly realize that it's actually a really good drug. It actually has a lot of potential.
It's got a lot of benefits.
There are, and I mean, it's stuff like, I'm not licensed to prescribe it in Queensland, but I was working with people who were oncology cancer patients, and they used it to get rid of nausea and give them an appetite, and it was the best drug that they'd ever used. And I mean, we have, I can name a dozen off the top of my head medications to stop you from feeling nauseous, and you don't have to stick your finger in your ass to use most of them. But
Most of them.
But if you've got a cancer patient, they experience nausea to a whole new level. If they can just have some cannabis and it fixes their problem and they feel good, and sure, give it to them. Like within limits, within reason. But the problem with making something a drug is that you have to know the dose. You have to know how much to give, how little to give, what's the maximum dose you can give in a day, what's the minimum dose that's going to work, how do you, and then you start thinking about kidney failure and liver failure and all sorts of body things that can mess up your dosing. You have to know a lot of science behind it. And we're sort of finding that out now. We're just learning about that stuff now.
And that's obviously because, it's become accepted that it has benefits, so you can, but, obviously the laws change. So,
Yeah, is it the acceptance or is it just the laws? Like, because you can have
acceptance.
A bit of both. Yeah. I don't think acceptance is necessary, like general acceptance is necessarily a key factor. I think having the right people in place to be able to change the laws to allow the research to happen so that you can then make a definitive answer on how good.
Yeah, but that becomes by guys chucking out a hypothesis and going, oh, wait, this shit could be okay.
Yeah, but you need to have the laws changed.
So we can use
it's like the chicken or the egg thing. So you need to have the laws changed so that you can have access to it to be able to make the determination of whether it's good or bad.
A lot of the loss of those laws came from the realization that the drug war was designed, and that's obviously up for debate, to target minorities. And once that sort of came out, they realized that a lot of these drug laws didn't make a lot of sense. You could get the state that I used to be in, you could get a 10-year prison sentence if you were caught with 2 ounces of pot.
Yes, that's fucked.
which makes no sense. In my mind, I don't know. Maybe I'm not a lawyer / judge / anything to do with the legal system, but it didn't make sense, So get rid of that kind of making everything horrible. Like, having a joint in your pocket is no longer the worst thing in the whole wide world. The public acceptance of it, even if people don't personally believe in it, if you're just willing to allow research into it, we can turn it into a drug. Heroin is illegal. Oxycodone, which is the same
thing.
stuff, is completely legal. And I can write out prescriptions every day to every patient, totally legally, without anyone questioning. Well, maybe people would question it after a certain point, but you can, it's a little ridiculous what is and isn't illegal sometimes.
I've got to point out with that. Now, I only learned recently that heroin is oxy. And before that, I thought oxy, obviously, same family. I just thought it was different. I don't think there are a lot of people out there that goes, now this actually goes, my sister just broke her arm and she was given oxy. And I said, well, you need to be careful and just only take it if you need it because it's heroin. I learned that it was heroin before she obviously broke her arm. But she did not know that it was the same damn drug. And I think a lot of people out there don't realise the connection.
So do you say that because of the stigma that's associated with the word heroin? Or because if you didn't know and then she was taking codeine, so oxycodone, the same drug, same thing, but is it the fear of the heroin side of it and the stigma that's attached to that would make you say, be careful? Because if you didn't know and you're still taking the drug, it seems safe and it seems it's.
But oxy is addictive anyway, so we know oxy is addictive.
But in your head, it's not.
What you guys are talking about is literally the opiate epidemic. We have no problem prescribing people ever increasing doses of opiate medications, which is heroin. Like heroin is an opiate in base form. Morphine, fentanyl, oxycodone, codeine, oh God, the list is enormous. But all of those drugs are derived from an opiate. They are opiates. They're all the same thing. They are equally as addictive in every possible way. If you tell someone, here's a bit of heroin for help with your pain, they're going to freak out on you. Here's a bit of morphine to help with your pain. Oh, thanks, doc.
That's a good point. That's a good way of putting it, actually. So it is the stigma between the term heroin or oxy or whatever.
And then the war on drugs has done a very good job of creating that.
Yeah. Oh, and absolutely. Is that we are totally fine with, and it's also it's the trust in the medical system, and we are totally fine with medicine. Yeah. And medicine is drugs are drugs.
Well, it's like you trust your doctor because he's not going to prescribe you anything crazy. And he's, but yet you don't trust your drug dealer.
You
do. I know, man. I trust my drug dealer.
What a connection!
I've got to point out this is the same.
Sam, like Steve's a great guy. What are you talking about?
Steve. He comes around to my kids' parties. I've
got to point out
favors, right?
It's the same argument for semis and non-semis. Thanks, Caleb. Fuck you.
Well, I mean, I guess in Australia, opiates probably kill more people every year than guns, if you want to use that argument against it.
Thank you very much. That's from a learned man.
Now, the reason that is the case is probably because you can't get your hands on a damn semi.
Yep. All right, I've got a question for Tim. What's the most common injuries you see from people doing outdoor activities? Now, it doesn't have to be hunting necessarily, but just outdoor activities. What would you see pretty commonly?
Honestly, diarrhea.
Butt stuff. Caleb. You with the butt stuff.
I was really hoping you wouldn't come back to that. No, it's actually, so, the most common thing that people are going to do stupid things with is not be clean when they're outdoors.
Oh, really?
You can't just drink the water from any random dam without at least putting some effort into maybe running it through something that's filter-like.
Is your body considered a filter?
Right up until it squirts out your ass. I mean, it filters it great, and then it just all comes out the other end. I mean, I guess we see a lot of accidental trauma. So people burning themselves on fires because they're drunk, falling into things, slips, falls, broken bones, stuff like that.
Yep.
But honestly, just avoidable infections are probably seen the most, would be my guess. That's just you generally sort of ask people the question, what were you doing last weekend? And they tell you they went out and, they filled up their bottle from the stream that the cow was drinking at or something like that. And
fair enough.
Yeah, that's not very sanitary.
So is there anything particularly nasty? I mean, and this is something we come across. I mean, we generally plan ahead and take a fair bit of water with us, but in the situation where you're out in the bush and you come across a stream, what would you recommend people do? Boil the water, like use a SteriPen at very least, or is there any? What can you do to avoid?
SteriPens are actually pretty good, from what I understand. Boiling water is great. Filter it. Obviously, if there's big chunks of crap in your pan, you should probably not drink that. Run it through any kind of filter that's even coffee filters and stuff like that. Something to get rid of the big chunks, and then boil it. 30 minutes on a good boil will kill most things. It uses a lot of fuel. I know that, but if you got fuel but no water, you're going to die from thirst faster than you're going to, So
I've got to ask: is there a point though where people are just being pussies?
What can you elaborate?
Are you trying to say people don't have enough tolerance to dirty water?
Like, if you've eaten my mum's cooking, bro, you've got a nasty stomach, mate. You fucking drink your own piss and be fine.
You have a high carbon build up in your system, don't you?
You've all eaten my mum's cooking.
Sorry to Josh's mum.
All of you know. She's never going to listen to this.
I don't think I've ever eaten your mum's cooking.
She's the nicest lady, but she doesn't burn food. She cremates it.
My point is there a point, like, I have drunk out of countless unsanitary water sources and been fine.
Including
Would that
the
be
penis.
because of my upbringing of my mum's unsanitary fucking water sources?
So your gut has an amazing immune system in it.
Yep.
It can kill a lot of stuff. The pH in your stomach is one of the most acidic substances in the world. It's about pH of like 3. It's just pure acid. It'll destroy most things that go in there. The rest of your gut is about it's as basic as oven cleaner. Mm-hmm. If we pulled that liquid out and splashed it on your skin, it would eat your skin, kind of thing. So
fuck.
Yeah. Bodies are cool. That's why getting stabbed is such a bad thing. Throwing it out there.
No.
No, I mean, if you've drank dirty water and gotten a Campylobacter infection, fought it off, you're probably not going to get it again. You could, but your gut's going to recognize it and going to kill that stuff that comes into you, and it'll fix it.
Huh.
You'd build up a bit of a tolerance, but it's like kids who don't play in the sandboxes get more infections later in life. You want your kids to develop an immune system. You want them to be dirty. You want them to play in the sand and play in the dirt and play outside and do stupid things and
eat nuts. Drink soy.
Rub sesame oil on their head and whatever the current everyone's allergic to it thing is.
Can we go back to the getting stabbed thing? So if you
Ryan's a magpie.
I'm thinking
shiny.
If you get stabbed and in your stomach ruptures and your stomach acid comes out of your stomach and goes onto your organs, how fucked are you?
Well, your stomach is really good at immediately stopping producing acid if it gets stabbed. So it'll buffer it really fast. So the rest of your body will essentially dilute out the acid pretty quickly inside your gut so that it doesn't cause any leakage. And then when you get stabbed, one of the first things that happens is everything in the area kind of clamps down. That's why you never pull the knife out, is because it's clamped down around the foreign object, stopping you from bleeding. So your stomach will clamp down around the object and stop liquid from leaking out and stop blood from leaking out. If you get stabbed in the liver, it just clamps down around it and stops bleeding into that point. If you get stabbed in the spleen, you're pretty much fucked anyway. But it gets, if you get stabbed, your body, you got to think of like, people can get stabbed, and it's not like in a movie where you get stabbed and you go and you die. You run around screaming for a few hours, and eventually you might get picked up by an ambulance and brought to a hospital. Like, you don't die from a stab wound unless it's in a few very localized places. You can be really messed up and have a horrible life after that. But I've treated multiple people who got stabbed 3 or 4 times, and some of them have colostomy bags and some of them eat through straws and stuff like that. But they're, fine. Fine with an asterisk next to it, I guess. I don't know, a lot.
I have to admit, I've had a foreign object in my body before. And I got to admit,
Please clarify.
Like, the only thing you want to do mentally is actually pull it out, because it is the most uncomfortable feeling that you could ever imagine. And thank you very much, you fucking children.
What foreign object are you talking about?
I think the problem is I actually know the story you're talking about. I think you told me, but I can't help but be on their side. Just be like,
for the listeners at home hearing this for the first time.
Playing at home.
It's a story for another time, and I'm not willing to share it now. But what I'm trying to get at is, like, when something like that happens, all you want to do is get it out, because it is fucking uncomfortable. Yeah. It is like your brain recognizes that there's something foreign in you, and it's just like, get it out, get it out, get it out, get it out. That's all you can think about. Not your ass, Caleb. You fucking child.
There's a joke that's just on the tip of my tongue. I'm trying.
I'm glad your brain.
Here we go. Bring it out.
I'm glad your brain recognised it wasn't supposed to be in there.
Is the foreigner's name Jorge?
It's Jorge.
Oh, jeez.
Jorge.
It's. I mean, most of the damage done by stabbing is when they pull it out.
Yeah.
It's if you get brought into an emergency room and you've got a knife stuck in you or something stuck in you, we're taking it out under surgery. Like, it's just an automatic. You're going to surgery.
So how does that work? Do they have to cut out the knife?
No, they cut out your anus where you've been penetrated. Okay.
That's where they put the needles in.
That's where they put it.
Let's face
You
it.
asked.
We're all going down there.
It's all making sense.
It's a trauma surgeon would be. I'm a rural generalist, man. I do very good medicine to a point, and then I have to call people who are a lot smarter than me, who are specialists, and all they do is take knives out of people and stuff like that. They can sometimes, if they can explore the wound, they just extend it a little bit on either side of the knife, make sure that nothing bad is going on in there, and then they can just pull it out. And as they pull it out, they just see basically what's damaged. Sometimes they'll do it under laparoscope, so they'll put a camera inside through a little teeny port and look at the path of the knife and see what it's penetrated. And then, if it's like, oh, that's just, stuck in a muscle, they can just pull it out. And then just put a couple sutures in behind it or let it heal itself.
There you go. You're okay, Caleb. Right in the muscle, you'd be right.
Thanks, mate.
Right in the butt muscle.
Sorry, Tim.
I'm enjoying the irony of having to use a knife to get a knife out of a body.
Oh, it's not a knife; it's a scalpel.
The scalpel,
It's a very clean knife. Yeah. It's there's different shapes of them and stuff. Therefore, they're special.
Do you want to specialize in anything?
So no, I am. So technically, it's not true. So I am actually a specialist.
Okay.
Queensland Health and the Australian government, or Australian Health whatever the hell AHPRA stands for, Australian Health Practitioners Regulation Agents. I don't know. I have to pay them money every year to keep my license. That's all I know. They recognize being a rural generalist as a specialty. So we get we start off life as GPs, like just your family doctor kind of stuff. And then we get a whole bunch of extra training. So I have surgical training, anesthesiology training. I got a whole bunch of OB training. So like birthing babies and fixing that kind of stuff. And I got quite a bit more training in internal medicine. So the doctor you see when you go into a doctor, and you don't need a cardiologist or a renal or a kidney doctor or a liver doctor, or you just need an doctor. That's the kind of doctor I am. So I work on the inpatient units kind of thing, looking after just general sick people.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, so we are officially specialists in a field of everything. But we also, one of the biggest parts of our training is learning how far we can go. I can fix a trauma, put a tube in someone's throat, make them breathe, decompress their chest, sew together arteries, but I'm not going to be the one that fixes them up completely and puts them back together and puts them back on the street. That's when you call in the helicopter and they go to, a big city hospital kind of thing.
Yep.
So is the driver of what you're talking about the fact purely that you're rural and there's less of you?
Yeah.
So you have to be able to cover a wider range of bases?
Yeah. I mean, we have to. So, one of the hospitals I work at, there's one doctor.
Yeah, wow.
So anything that walks in the front door, including, ambulances that are dropping off who knows what, you have to be able to deal with. Any age from birth to death kind of thing where we have to be able to deal with. Why doctors have like that little office behind the closed door that, you never go in, like, you go come in and you sit down, you get in the bed and we ask you a few questions and we walk away for a few minutes.
Yeah.
That's so we can get on our phone and Google it.
Yeah.
It's like, was fucking gross. What the hell was that? God damn.
Do you know, no, I've had GPs Google it right in front of me, eh?
Yeah, same.
No shame. Just up on the screen, just Google.
Yeah.
Oh, here's your, oh, thanks, mate. I'm glad that we're paying for that.
No, you've got to realise that, like, they've got to cover a fucking broad spectrum of stuff.
It's like the jack of all trades, master of none sort of thing.
No, I think it's more like
I'm pretty damn good. I don't know.
I mean, because from what I was picking up from you were saying before, Tim, is that you've got additional training being rural than what a city GP would have. Is that correct?
Yeah, quite a bit. A city GP, they do a lot of general training without really focusing on any one specialty, except kind of recognizing a lot of important basic stuff. They spend a lot of time in their practice seeing the things like the clinical presentations of something where you walk in off the street, but you're probably going to die tomorrow, but you feel totally fine today. They're really good at picking those kind of things up to send you to the hospital for someone else to fix.
That sucks.
To the blatantly obvious.
Well, you'd think there's a few things out there that you can die from, and if they're not picked up pretty, like you can rock up and not be,
COVID.
be feeling fine. That takes about a week usually.
Oh,
week
damn.
to 10 days. Yeah. No, there's but there's a good example is Wellens phenomenon. It's a set of changes in electrocardiogram. So you come into the GP, you go, when I walk up the stairs, I get chest pain. Cool. Probably got angina, no big deal. You put them on an ECG, you get a little tracing. That's not.
Angina?
These two children are laughing at angina because it sounds like vagina.
Fuck off.
It's only got one letter difference.
Sorry.
It's the important part.
Angina, go on.
Angina, no V. Jesus Christ. But if they come in and you put them on a tracing, you get this picture that tracing, that specific pattern is critical stenosis or critical narrowing of an artery. That is, we call it the widowmaker. It's the one that if you cough the wrong way, it gets occluded, your heart stops pumping.
Oh wow!
You for real?
So that would be if I show I always make the joke it's the easiest referral you ever make, because you get the guy on the other end of the phone, you take a photo of it with your phone, you send it to him, and he's accepted the patient, and you can transfer them immediately for an instant angio and stuff like that, because just could die at any moment.
Fuck
So,
it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. there's a few things like GPs are really, I mean, a good GP is worth their weight in gold, and they are paid the least of any doctor in the country.
Yeah, that's
So
unfortunate, actually. My uncle died. He was healthy as hell. He went swimming in Semaphore and boom, just died. He had a, what's it called? Blood vessel burst in his head. Just dead. That's it.
Wow.
End of story. And like he was healthy as fuck.
And fuck is healthy.
It was part of being healthy, yes.
Yeah, it's healthy to fuck.
Well, let's ask the doctor.
How healthy is it to fuck, Dr. Tim? There's a comma in there.
You did agree to this podcast, man.
Yeah, but you expect a level? I don't know. It's like every time I think we've hit rock bottom, you guys are just finding a way to crawl under the stick. Like, Jesus.
Yes.
We're setting new standards.
We have a cellar.
No matter how low I set the bar, right? So yes, actually, enjoying lovemaking with a intimate partner is incredibly healthy for you.
Well played, sir.
That was answered beautifully. All right, I've got a question, and this might appeal to you on a couple of planes.
Is it about fucking?
No, it isn't. It's complete from a medical perspective, Dr. Tim. Could a zombie apocalypse actually happen? Because we would actually, I think, love to roam around with shotguns. And,
I'd love to run around with an AR-15, but Caleb.
Look, if there's a zombie apocalypse, like the lid's off, semi-autos, autos, everything's allowed.
Yeah,
all right?
got him. So
Guns.
You need those armor-piercing rounds.
Yeah.
Correct.
That's the problem. Anyway,
Could anything like a zombie apocalypse happen?
well, so as in. So the zombie part of it, or the disease causing an apocalypse part of it.
Sure, either or. Let's flesh this out.
The concept of something that reanimates your brain is, I mean, anything's possible in medicine. That's pretty damn low on the list, though.
Yep.
Once your brain stops firing, you're done. There's nothing going to bring you back. We can restart a heart sometimes. We can make you breathe. We can trigger everything to start up again. But once your brain stops working, your body's not going to do anything.
Yep.
So we can zap you. It's just electrical impulses, right? We can make your limbs move. We can make things work. And people who are organ donors is a good example of their brain dead. They don't have signals from their brain of any significance anymore, but their body just hasn't given up yet.
Yep.
And that's where the idea of zombies come from. This idea that, you're brain dead, you can cut off someone's head and their heart keeps pumping for, 10, 15 seconds. Their lungs will still try to be taking a breath, that kind of stuff. You can be dead and still showing signs of life.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a bug somewhere in the cosmos kind of thing that can do this? Probably. Some cool fungus that takes over you and reanimates you and
COVID.
Sure, let's bring the Mars rover back and lick it and see what happens,
I would be down for that.
Well, I'm just figuring this helicopter that they have up there is whipping up all kinds of dust. And I'm just like, there's got to be something cool in there, man.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see something going to peek its head around the corner of the camera soon. And go, oh shit, and walk away. And I'm waiting. Anyway, so I mean, technically, yes, absolutely, 100%. Something like that could technically happen, but it's not gonna.
Yeah.
But an actual disease spreading around the world, killing people rapidly, that can't be controlled unless you take drastic action against it. I don't know if you've been checking the news recently.
COVID.
So, COVID, COVID, it's a great example is, it went from a relatively isolated problem to, and I mean, because I work in a hospital. We were getting the information no faster than anyone else in the world. It's just we were seeing how quickly it was spreading, and epidemiologically we were crapping our pants.
Mhm.
because we were just like, holy shit, that entire town is infected now. Oh crap, that entire state is infected now. All those people got on planes. It's spreading faster than we can even keep track of. We're screwed. You know, like, and that was originally the attitude. And that's why Australia, you know, I'm a little biased on the medical side of things. I think hard lockdowns are good because it stops people from getting sick. But that's why they did it. It was you know, you can make any argument you want about knee-jerk reactions and stuff, but it stopped it from spreading. By stopping people from spreading it, they stopped it.
With that, though, are we stopping a lot of herd immunity by people getting it and just getting over it? Are we stopping a proportion of our society just going, okay, we'll get it, we'll get over it, move on?
Interestingly, there were a few countries that decided that they were just going to go for herd immunity.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the health practitioners, most of the even government officials in those countries now admit that was the wrong thing to do.
Really?
Because they were just like, you know what? We're going to go for herd immunity. Eventually, enough people will get sick that blah, blah, blah. Hundreds of thousands of people died. And yeah, they have herd immunity now, but at what cost? The other
but is that
problem
like the greater
into,
good thing? Like, is there a greater good?
Oh, come on, man. We're giving out a vaccine that has a 1 in 10 million chance of causing a blood clot. And people are going, oh, fuck no.
Oh,
I'm not going to take that.
Is it that
because I
great?
could get a blood clot.
See,
The media... It's one in 8 point something million, I think. I'd have to double check the number, but somebody calculated it locally that you'd have a better chance of getting hit by a dog, knocked into traffic, and run over by a pig truck all at the same time than you would getting a blood clot from this vaccine.
Yeah, wow.
See, no one puts it in that perspective. The media just goes, oh, you're going to get a blood clot if you get this. And everyone's like, fuck, let's not get it.
Yeah. And that's we've because that's the vaccine that we give out in our GP practice. That's the one that we're giving out because it's the one that can be stored at normal temperatures and stuff. It can cause this fancy immune reaction that makes you clot and bleed at the same time. And it's an awful disease and you can die from it. But it is so stupendously rare to have that reaction that it's just, you have a better chance of tripping into traffic and getting hit by a truck.
Can I?
Can
I bring back one thing though? Something that brings brings up a bit of a red flag for me is, so most medications that come onto the market, they've got to go through stringent trials that last years and years and years. Maybe a decade. We've created a vaccine fucking within 12 months. Boom, it's out there, ready to go. There's no long game trials. That's a fact because it's been 12 months. So
if you think about it though, every single year we come out with a new flu shot.
Yeah.
And that flu shot targets different strains of the flu every single year.
Yeah.
So for a long time, vaccine manufacturers have been coming out with brand new vaccines every single 6 months to a year.
Yeah.
We change the flu shot every single, and the baseline science behind creating this vaccine has existed for a long time. Now, there's actually some people down in Melbourne were some of the first people to use it in like a gross scale. And the original science behind it was designed for targeting cancer cells. So cancer cells have special receptors on them, or your body makes special receptors. You got a little code of that in DNA or RNA, or if you really want the scientific explanation, I could give it to you, but I think my brain would explode. But you basically take this little signal, you create a targeted response from it, and then you trick your own body's immune system into fighting that signal. Now, if that signal is a cancer cell, you're tricking your body's immune system, and it's tricking it anyway, into fighting your own cancer. And that's where all of this started. They just went, well, all of COVID has this one little spike protein on it. Why don't we take that spike protein, sequenced it? Sequencing takes a few minutes nowadays. You just toss it in a computer, it sequences it really quickly. You have an exact RNA sequence of exactly what you're targeting. They put it in a vaccine, they give it to you. It's exactly the same thing. It's all it is creating a target for your body to recognize at a future date.
See, the media needs to explain it in such a simple term like you've just done then to help put the general public at ease because wow.
And the hardest part about giving people vaccines nowadays is convincing them that all of the Google articles and Facebook shit and all of that stuff is not true. Mm-hmm. And that what I'm telling you is true because people believe Facebook more than they believe their doctor.
That's true. And I believe that's a problem from the mainstream media. They just need to get someone in there.
The problem, though, is it gets lapped up and consumed. So a story based on a negative base, like on a negative spin on something, so you will die from this, will get more likes and attention.
Oh, absolutely.
And will go viral. And that's why they do it.
No one cares about good news stories.
No, that's
no one wants to hear about how amazing this. The science behind creating this vaccine is stunning, and it was shot through super fast because we already knew how it worked, and no one cares how it works. They're all concerned that this vaccine came out so fast. And it's like, well, I just explained to you guys in less than 5 minutes how we created a vaccine quickly and why it's not bad for you.
Yep.
I'm sure the ABC put somebody on at 1 o'clock in the morning once saying that exact thing, but no one gave a shit. So, yeah.
That's the thing though. It's logical when you put it in the way you're putting it. To be perfectly honest,
layman's terms.
I'm not going to run out and get the vaccine tomorrow, but
you should.
I am.
Really? Tomorrow.
You can go online if you're in Queensland, it's Queensland Health Government website. But if you just Google where can I get a COVID shot, all of the health services in the country have websites dedicated to finding a location that'll give you that vaccine, and you can always book them online and everything.
Yeah, well,
and it's free. It's completely free. The GPs are not allowed to charge you for anything other than parking out front, maybe.
Oh, well, that's good to know. It's just hard to bring, I guess, the two realms together and go, okay, it is actually safe for you. When you put it in, they're just using something that they've already trialed for years. They know, and they're just putting it in a different model.
Same
application, different model. It makes sense. It makes perfect sense, to be perfectly honest. It's just, it still worries me a little bit. I got to admit, I'm a little bit conservative still. I sort of like, have we given it enough time? This and that. I know my mother pretty much chewed my dad's head off for wanting to go get it. She was just complete and utterly scared. I mean, for a fact they watch a lot of American news. And my mum was scared that Dad was going to get a blood clot and die.
Is that ignorance though?
Well, no, it makes sense when he explains it like that. It's not the.
So it's one of those things where people are fearful of what they don't understand, and if they don't know how to find the truth,
but they also have to trust someone that's giving them the truth.
Yeah, that's what I mean by how to find the truth. So instead of just hearing something that is being told to you, being able to assess the information and the source of being a legitimate and credibility is a big word there. A trustworthy and credible source. Facebook, most of the internet, what your mates are telling you, what the news is telling you, the credibility behind all of those things is almost non-existent because it's all echo chamber is a good word to use in that because they target people that lap that shit up and they get spun around. Whereas if you can think critically and assess where the information is coming from, not just the information itself, then that's going to give you a better idea and a greater understanding of whether or not there is truth behind it. And I think that is the trouble with a lot of people these days is their ability to be able to think like that has been taken away from them. And that's purely because of the entertainment.
Yeah, it's a media-driven thing.
The media that we've got, all of everything. I mean, fuck, you can get your phone to run your entire life now. We have been trained to stop thinking for ourselves, and that is having an incredibly detrimental effect on our society as a whole.
That's funny because I just bought a new calendar paperback book instead of using my phone.
Respect.
I mean, a calendar is a new thing for you, so you've got a lot of catching up to do.
Oh, I was going to say, so he's actually going to show up on time now? Or?
Nope.
No,
there is not enough. I'm seriously, there is not enough time in the day. And you know what? You try, if you're a yes man and you just like to help people out and, you're not out for yourself, and
That's a really great spin on not being able to say no.
Are you saying you're a yes man?
yes.
Awesome. Well, while we're talking about you, Josh, I've got a question for Tim.
That makes no sense.
We're talking about you, and this leads me to a question for Tim. Now, we've discussed this on the podcast a few times, Dr. Tim. Josh bleeds from his bum.
I knew this was coming up because you're on anal shit all night long, mate.
What should he be doing? Because I am forever telling him, go to the fucking doctor.
And go to the doctor. He's my damn brother-in-law. Be like, hey,
there's needles for that.
I'd just like to say, so I have had this conversation with Josh before. And I believe the first words that came out of my mouth was, well, that's disgusting. And it was probably followed with, you need to go get a scope.
No.
Yes, you need to have your internals checked out by somebody who specializes in shoving cameras in internal orifices.
Josh should go to the doctor.
I'm happy to report it's just a nice, clean, like bit of a dirty wipe with a bit of blood. That's all right. We're good.
Do you use baby wipes?
Hey, that shit's.
Are you telling me it's purely just fissures now?
Yeah, I reckon.
Small anal tears.
Yeah. Yeah.
So so you ever want to see one of the grossest YouTube videos? Google a pilonidal abscess. It's PILO, nidal. That is when a fissure digs and turns into a big communicating chunk of pus that ends up coming out your ass cheek. Oh, so you have this giant path of infection from a fissure usually.
That's disgusting.
That is amazing.
And I am going to block that out of my
just for those following at home.
You got it.
Just for those playing at home.
Google's are great.
So we're talking about the inside of your ass has a
They don't need to know.
hole
Ron.
that creates.
There's a YouTube video, bro.
I just need to understand this
Just
before
watch it.
I watch the video. So I'm going in, prepped, and it's like creates an infectious hole to the outside of your butt cheek.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fucked.
Yeah.
Wait, I'm just going to pretend this conversation never happened, and my ass is fine. Thank you very much for your concern. Let's fucking move on, eh?
It's called being in denial,
Yeah?
Josh. In denial.
Let's fucking move on.
It's not just a river in Egypt.
Nah.
You will fix yourself. one day.
Denial is the first step of coping.
Oh, that's funny. That is funny.
There's acceptance comes later.
I have a theory. If you've got something wrong with you and you deny it and don't choose to accept it, there's nothing wrong with you. So there you go.
Don't think it works like that.
What?
There's a lot of people who die from cancer every year who would disagree with that statement.
Yeah.
Because if you have
Is there a lot of
symptoms-
people that survive from cancer because they believe that statement?
No.
Oh, damn.
just no, Josh.
I'm gonna
No.
I'm gonna go with a flat no on that one. Yeah, no.
Moral of the
Damn.
story is go to the doctor, Josh.
Yeah.
And then go do what the doctor tells you to do after you go to the doctor. Like
I always
there's
struggle
more
with
there's
that.
more than one step here.
So this actually leads into the question that I have for you, Tim.
God, he's got
So-
like 2 hours of absolutely being berated.
Yeah, I know, right?
We'll give him a rest soon.
How
Good.
how do you find patients and how well they follow the advice or what they're supposed to do? So I'm a big fan of Jordan B. Peterson. Shout out to the big
Fuck
man
yeah,
himself.
Jordan Peterson.
I hope to God he listens to this one day. But in his
won't.
book, he mentions how terrible humans are at taking care. So we take care of our pets better than we take care of ourselves. I just it'd be interesting to have your opinion on that as someone who's in the thick of it, as they say. Like, how, in your opinion, how good are we as humans at following the advice of the people who know how to make ourselves better?
All right. Well, Josh, do you smoke?
Yeah.
Are you aware of the fact that smoking is bad for you?
No, it's actually incorrect. That smoking is full of vitamins.
Just no. There is exactly one disease in the world that smoking has actually been shown to be protective against. And you might have it with the blood coming out of your ass. But the likelihood is you don't have that singular
Because I smoke. Hey.
Protecting yourself. Smoking, it's like a condom, only better.
No, it's not. It's just as I take a sip of an alcoholic beverage. God. So, honestly, I think the vast majority of people out there probably want to look after themselves and want to be healthy. I don't think anyone ever wakes up in the morning and goes, you know what? I don't like being able to get out of bed without being out of breath. I as much as I love this flop sweats when I walk up a set of stairs, I think I'm good with it because, no one really says that. Mm-hmm. I think that a lot of compliance with treatment plans, as we call it, is not the patient's fault. It's the doctor's fault for not communicating it properly. There's a big push in our education system in at least in our hospital to sort of ban the concept of non-compliant with medication. The problem is non-compliant with medication, meaning you're not taking it right doses, whatever. Why not? Do you not know why you're taking it? Not know what the benefit is? Do you just see no benefit from it? Is it not working? Is it making you sicker than you were before the doctor put you on it? So, if I tell someone to take a medication that makes you piss 4 liters of fluid every day, they're probably not going to want to take it. Mm-hmm. I can be honest with that. There's the reality behind that. If I tell you that the only treatment that we can do for you is shoving a camera up your ass with water and gas, and it's uncomfortable, and you're probably not going to want to do it. The understanding that we're going to do it, or we want to do it because you could have a fungating tumor inside you that if we catch it early enough, we can cut it out and you don't die. That's the communication afterwards that probably isn't being done. Should you exercise? Absolutely. But you know what? Going to a gym 3 times a week sucks. It's full of people that I should stop.
Josh,
but, going to a gym is boring for a lot of people and no one wants to do it. But you know what? 30 minutes of physical activity, it's the guideline is 30 minutes of moderate physical activity that makes you huff and puff 3 times a week. Well, you know what? Most people can probably accomplish that doing vigorous yard work. So if you have a big lawn, do your gardening. That's fine. That's physical activity. That's going to get your heart rate up. It's going to make you breathe. It's going to be good for you in the long run. And that's fine. If that's all you can do as well. If you're I have a reasonable number of morbidly obese patients that I look after. And telling someone who can't walk more than 50 feet, you know what you need to do is get on a treadmill for 30 minutes a day. That's just not going to happen. Yeah. If I tell them that they need to be able to, walk around the sofa at every ad break on TV, that's doable. And if I tell them that they then need to walk to the front door of their house and back to the sofa at every ad break, that's doable too. If they then go 3 doors down or 5 doors down or 10 doors down, the end of the block, around the block, that's a doable goal. And that's the sort of stuff that, if all I did was print off the Australian guideline for physical fitness and hand it to you and said, do this, you're not going to do it, So a lot of it is, patients not doing what we want them to do. A lot of it boils down to how bad your doctor is at telling you what you should do.
Yeah.
So
do you think because there's that old, I've heard it from a lot of people where, and no offense to you at all, there's an idea that GPs are they're practitioners that haven't wanted to or have failed to move into a specialist field. Do you think that that's a thing, first of all? And do you think that may be a contributing factor to the lack of communication because they haven't had the bedside manner or the communication skills to be able to progress in the field, and that might be a contributing factor to how patients perceive the information?
So most GPs who are good at their jobs have always wanted to be a GP. I went into medicine thinking I actually loved emergency, and I ended up finding out that GP was actually what I was better at. That kind of thing. And that's why I sort of specialized. I mean, I got a whole bunch of extra training because I was bored. So I got a whole bunch of more training, but I started off as a GP, If you go into your field and you want to be really good at it, it's not hard to be. And you push yourself to be the best at your job. So a lot of GPs are actually really, really good doctors, but they are limited in a system that makes you manage every single patient in 6 to 10 minutes. Because that's the only way to be, you can't make a living as a GP. You just can't without gap charging, without doing all sorts of other things. It's really, really hard to provide good care as a GP these days because you don't have enough time. It takes time. I can spend 15 minutes explaining why you should get physically active. In 15 minutes, I should see 2 patients.
That's funny you say that because my doc always books me for a triple appointment. My GP, actually,
but that's what we try to do. Is if you are a complicated patient, we will book for longer appointments because we know we're not going to be able to get through the 5 things even the 2 things that you have wrong with you in a 7-minute appointment. That's crazy. And if you rock up to a GP and you say, hey, so I've got a cold and I need you to fill out this form. Well, cool. How big's the form? Is it more than 1 page? Boom. You're done your 7 minutes.
Yeah, I was going to say scripts. Just writing scripts, 7 minutes.
Yeah.
Easy.
Yeah.
So it's not the practitioner, it's the system. That's the sound of things.
Yeah. And it's the push. I mean, Australia has free healthcare, which is the only way to do it. You can't do it any other way. And GPs have not had a pay raise in 13 years.
Holy shit.
Wow.
The funding model to go see your family doctor has not changed really in 13 years. So if we bulk bill you, if we don't charge gaps, if we don't do anything like that, I think we average, and don't quote me on it, it's all available online. It's medicare.gov.au if you care. You can look up exactly how much your GP is making off you. It ends up working out to, and I mean that number that you see, that's not going in his pocket or her pocket. That's going to the practice to pay the frontline staff, to pay the rent, to pay the electricity bill, to pay the water, to hire nurses to do things, you have to pay every single one of your expenses out of that. And you end up earning. So if you really are really curious, pop onto Medicare, punch in something, anything that your GP did, and they usually earn about 20 to 30% of that number. That's their actual pre-tax take-home pay.
Yeah, that's not much at all.
If an appointment for 15 minutes is $30, give or take, it's 33 and a bit, I think. I can't remember exactly. It's about $30. If I earn 30% of that, that's less than $40 an hour, assuming I can smash through 4 patient 15-minute appointments.
Yeah.
The second someone takes more time, if I get a phone call, if I have to answer the phone, what if I have to send someone to the hospital? That takes 30 minutes minimum. What if I have to wait for an ambulance to pick that patient up and I have to monitor that patient in my GP office waiting for an ambulance? That's an hour.
I have noticed that a lot of GPs don't eat lunch as well.
No. I eat at my desk doing catching up. Yeah. We have a scheduled 1 hour break for lunch and I just eat at my desk. It's the only way I can keep ahead usually.
Yeah, but that's not a break. Well, doing work whilst you're eating is not a break, man.
No.
And you pull crazy bullshit hours. I mean, everyone's complaining about 8. We've got to work 9 hours today. Most GPs I know, they're working 14-hour days.
Yeah, they can. Yeah. So we do 9, about 9-ish, somewhere between 8 and 9, assuming you don't have to stay late to do anything. And we don't you don't get, if you stay late at a job that pays you from 9 to 5, you get overtime.
Mm-hmm.
I don't get paid unless I'm seeing patients. So if I'm sitting there writing out medication summaries, doing notes, catching up on paperwork, that's free.
Wow.
Yeah, that's the thing. I had this conversation with my GP actually. He's like, I won't get home till like 10:30 tonight. I'm like, what time do you start? He's like, 8. I'm like, fuck, that's a big day.
Yeah.
I mean, when you're thinking and he's not eating lunch, having an actual break either, you're like, fuck, that's a big day.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's
Listen
crazy.
to dudes whinge all
And
day.
everyone thinks, like you say, doctor, like, they must be making $250K a year easy and just living the high life. But that's ridiculous. I had no idea that was the way the GPs work.
So I want to put in a clause here. This is why I don't go to see the doctor about my anus, because I don't want to bother them about some petty shit. There you go. Fucking drop the mic, I'm out.
Don't be a martyr. Just fucking go.
I'll martyr on you in a second.
So that referral would probably take him 5 minutes.
Well, there's 5 minutes that could go
Hey,
to
mate,
someone
you
else
got
more
another-
deserving.
You have
Josh,
got
you
another 2
deserve it
minutes.
just as much as anyone else. In fact, probably more than a lot of people.
It's not about who deserves what. Just shh.
It's about the inner fear that.
All right, if that's your attitude, I don't want to hear a single. I don't want to hear a single complaint ever again.
Now, I mean, it's the, like speaking of pay scales and stuff, like GPs are the lowest paid doctors. Period.
You should join a union.
Well, in Queensland we have one.
He is part of a union.
You should tell your union to get off their ass.
Well, if the government isn't willing to change, it's the man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck the man.
Oh, there you go. Hopefully someone with a position of pull listens to this and gets off their ass.
So is
Well,
there what can people do to help? Like if you're going to your GP, what can you do to try and help your GP? Like is there anything that the patient can do to make the GP's life a little bit easier?
Not whinge about bleeding from the ass.
You know what? I love telling my patients, bring a list and give me the list in the first second that you're there, and then cool, we'll go through your list. Because then it's like, I know exactly what you're there for right from the start. You're not sitting there going, there was something else,
As in write down a list.
Yeah, write down why you want to be, like, what is your problem today? Lists are good. I mean, the problem is that you just, when you're making your appointment, be honest about how long you're going to need your doctor for.
Mm.
If you have 7 things you need to talk to your doctor about, tell them. So book you a long appointment. Don't lie to them and say that you need a short appointment and then rock up and need them to, do 10 different things for you or something like that. And I mean, I'm not like, I got to be careful because like I want people to go to their GPs. Going to your GP is like baseline. Everyone should go as often as they need to. If they feel like they need to be seen by a doctor, go see a doctor. We'd rather see you and be like, yeah, totes, you're fine, than you wait with bleeding out your ass until it's bad.
What you're saying is be organised.
That helps.
Yeah.
And be honest when you're booking your appointment. I think that's the biggest one. We have an online booking system. Into our, like the practice that I work in, we have an online booking system. It has short, medium, long, and extended appointments. And it tells you short, medium, 1 issue, less than 15 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Medium, I think it's 30 minutes, 2 to 3 issues. And it says this right when you're booking it. So you can go, I got to talk to him about this, this, and this. Well, that's 3 issues. I better book a long appointment,
Mm-hmm.
So.
Oh, that's a good idea, actually.
I didn't know that.
We're all learning today, Josh.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of timeframes, we've kept this learned doctor for 2 hours. Do you boys have any other questions you'd like to get through to Tim before we wrap this up?
I just don't think that time permits today.
Mate, well, I honestly could have this conversation for the next another 2 hours.
I could jump back onto some weed and shit, actually.
Jump back on it. As in smoke the weed?
As in ask questions about it or actually do
No,
it?
ask questions about. No, don't smoke weed. Ask questions about it.
Oh, maybe. I think this is definitely a time where we say we're definitely going to have you on again, Tim. I think this has been incredibly educational for ourselves and our listeners.
For sure.
Yeah, no, love
We've
to.
covered
Anytime.
a lot of great and interesting topics here.
A lot of bum stuff.
A lot of bum stuff.
A lot of. I think we might have to sort of make like a crotch rule next time that we're not top, like
Just
top of the
dick
head
stuff.
to the belly button is fine.
I'm happy with
and then,
front
like,
bums.
Above the waist.
Happy with front bums.
No, well, thank you very much for your time, Tim.
Oh, you just got that. You
thank
just
you-
got that.
Thank you for your patience with our childish nature. I love the moment where I've just looked at your face and you've gone, oh,
What
why am I
Yes,
still
there's
here?
anguish. There is pure anguish.
But it's also the how professional do you want? Like
Oh, we are
like,
not professional.
Rather all.
But
Actually,
like how professional do I have to be? I guess,
Yeah.
is the
No,
question. But,
actually,
I've-
most people have a persona of doctors that they're like, no, 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 no. And,
What?
at the end of the
They
day, you're
eat
just an
with their
ordinary
mouth open,
person,
or?
You can talk to
yeah, I
them.
mean, I think there's a lot of doctors in the world, and most of the people who demand to be called doctor somebody are people that I don't hang around with.
Yeah.
I'm Tim. I tell my patients to call me Tim.
No,
you
I
really wanna
actually,
call-
I call you doctor. I'm like, I got a doctor in my family.
And I think it's freaking hilarious. Like I forget I'm a doctor half the time.
Look, we're so appreciative, Tim, of your time, and I know you're a busy man, and with 2 young children in the house as well, you're especially busy. So we do thank you for your time tonight. And I think a famous showbiz saying is you got to keep the audience wanting more. So I definitely think people would love to hear some more of you. So thank you for being on.
Well, I'm going to ask you what we ask all of our guests. Is there any a message or anything you want to plug or any information that you want to? No more butt stuff, Josh.
No, that's Caleb's deal, man.
Is there anything that you would like people to know from your perspective of your field, or anything that you want to get out there? Any information? There?
You know what? I see more accidental trauma, as we call it, in emergency rooms up here than anything else. People doing stupid things and making bad decisions. I wish that I could just tell people to just think a little bit before you do something really stupid about, is this going to cause you to shatter your pelvis? And if the answer is yes, just don't do it.
Yeah.
But in all honesty, you know what? Go to your doctor. Go check things out. Get checked up. If it's worrying you, go see your GP about it. That's what we're here for. It's what we're paid for. We want to see you. We want to keep an eye on people. We want to catch stuff early. The hardest thing to do is when you have someone who's ignored something for 20 years come in and you have to try to fix them.
Yeah.
Well, one thing that I always say to people that struggle, and I myself am someone who struggles to go to see the GP, not for any specific reason, but it just doesn't seem like a great priority for me. But then a mate of mine actually told me the other day, he said, your GP, whatever you're going in for, your GP has probably either already seen it or has seen worse. So if it's a fear that you're worried about, that's their job.
You're holding in a laugh there.
I am. I'm trying to finish off on a serious note. I've been driving the immature train.
That's all right.
If you think your penis is small, the doctor has probably seen a smaller one.
It's smaller. It's not quite micro.
And no matter what in the emergency room, if you come in with something, I can pretty much guarantee you I've seen it, or I've seen someone who's had it worse.
Mhm.
And it's not saying that it's not an emergency, but you know what? It's what we're here. It's day-to-day life.
Yeah. You're prepped, ready to do it.
You guys see kind of the world, and I see a completely bottom end of the world.
Pun intended.
Awesome. Well, I think we'll leave it there. And ladies and gentlemen, this is the final episode of this season. We're going to go for a short hiatus of a few weeks and just reset and put some new plans in motion and come back better and bigger in season 3.
Better, bigger, faster, and stronger.
That's us. So we do have to say special thanks to Dr. Tim Turk.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tim.
Thank you very much.
Anytime, guys.
We look forward to having you again sometime soon.
So, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to head over to Instagram, Send It Mate Podcast on Insta. I think we've got a Facebook page now.
I think you've got to actually rehearse on how to say Send It Mate Podcast on Instagram.
I say it slowly.
It sounds like you're doing it.
Send It Mate Podcast.
All right, dude and dudettes, that's it for us for this season. We will see you again in a few weeks' time.
Thank you.
I have been Ryan.
I've been Caleb.
And I've been Josh.
And we will catch you next season on Send It Mate Podcast.
Oh, dear.
Just stop it.
Catch you later, dude and dudettes. G'day, dude and dudettes. Josh here. Do you find it hard to keep your long, hard barrels free from gun STDs? Maybe you need a clean out of your bore. If this is you, jump on over to highcaliber.com.au and use the promo code SENDITMATE to receive a 10% discount on all your gun cleaning needs. And remember, it's sexy to support Australian-made products. Everyone here at Send It Mate uses High Caliber, and we can promise you that it'll keep your firearms free from those pesky gun STDs.